Hello and welcome to another episode of the DewatchPod podcast. I am Jorgen Smorgasbord.
And I am Jim with a G.
We are watching the seasons of Black Mirror in reverse order, and we have reached season 1.
Episode 2.
Yeah.
15 million merits, I believe it is called. I should have double checked that.
It's something like that. And Jim, would we recommend the listeners of this podcast
I call them viewers all the time. I don't care.
to watch this episode? No.
Yeah. A mild, yeah. I realized it did not hit your particular...
It's a mild no from me.
Okay, really? I thought it would be quite, like, maybe not a full strength no, but like a...
It turned me around a little bit towards the end, but I really suffered to get there, and it was a long trek of suffering.
But yes, before we move any further, shall we do our...
Content warnings, yes.
So, the content warnings, and I think we've got them all this time. We usually have to add one after the fact, and if that's the case, that will be edited in shortly. But the ones we believe we have are self-harm, suicide threats of suicide, sexual violence, and fat phobia.
Yeah.
We nailed it. Isn't that right? Non-existent future Jorgen.
That's right, future Jorgen. Shut up.
Nice. Okay, so what do we have in 50 million merits? Present Jorgen.
We have a very straightforward episode concept. It's a nondescript dystopia where everyone has to bicycle to generate power.
Yes.
And the other major feature of dystopia is reality television.
Yeah, and porn.
I think that's sort of... Yeah, porn that is sort of intertwined with the reality television complex.
Yes.
And we have Daniel Kaluuya, who is a prolific cyclist in this future, or as it turns out, a prolific inheritor of cyclism.
But he seems pretty good at cycling too, but that comes after some character development.
And he's just sort of trudging through life, he's just hovering at a comfortable amount of wealth with 15 million merits, the episode title, and spends all of his excess funds on
skipping ads.
Which
is so relatable, might I add. Like, it doesn't help, I suppose, that the ads here are, as I stated multiple times during the episode, appear to be 90% porn.
Yeah, it's very porn-centric. And he's trudging through life. He makes a friend who's clearly into him, whom he ignores. But he steals all her charm tricks to charm the new hot lady on the block.
That's right.
Who's
Abby Khan.
Yeah, whose actress's name we haven't checked, so this will be a strange mix of calling Daniel Kaluuya, and the character of Abby Khan.
Who is Jessica Brown Findlay.
And because this dystopian future, which we do also find out at some point, which is very racist and sexist and fatphobic.
I don't think it's very racist.
It's a bit racist.
The racism is like the third of the isms here.
Yeah, it's...
Well, maybe fourth after, like, if we add in classism too.
Which, yeah, no.
Like, it's in the way that, like, your weird uncle is openly misogynistic, but it will also maybe occasionally toss out the word Oriental without really meaning that much by it. He's just old.
Yeah, and this dystopia has inherited all of our foibles, and just to, like, get the vibe across a little bit more, it's like being in nondescript rooms with all the windows replaced by screens.
Yeah, it is very much focused on spectacle, which I think this is like seems to be kind of where Charlie Brooker originates with that theme in the Black Mirror, but that's for recap episode, I suppose. It's very focused on spectacle. It's very focused on bright flashing lights. This is the kind of dystopia that, like, sort of literature-wise descends more from Brave New World in 1984. Like, that's always how I classify them, which is very simplistic, but I think here it kind of hits home, right? Because it's all about sex, drugs, very, very lowbrow humor.
Yeah. And he hears the newcomer to his floor or whatever.
She can sing, sort of.
Singing in the bathroom. And
that's enough for our boy.
That's enough for our boy. He's like, you know what? I'm spending my inheritance of merit on buying this lady a
tickets to American Idol.
Yeah, or Dystopian Idol, or Hot Shots. Hot Shots. It's called Hot Shots.
It's called Hot Shots. I will commend them for not just like picking something that is extremely close to the actual show they're basing it off. Yeah. Right? Like that's a very common thing to just be like, this show is called, I don't know. I'm struggling now. I'm gonna say idolatry, which is, but yeah, like there's a lot of these. So just like parodies where they just swap. I guess this is kind of like a Black Mirror thing. What was it, like Streamberry or whatever, right? In future seasons, they do actually rename things properly rather than just like switching out a word for a synonym.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's very clearly American Idol.
Yeah, it's they have Simon Cowell.
Yeah, they do, and a very rectangular Simon Cowell.
and
And yeah,
this is a bit of a fake out because the show at no point establishes that this lady who we have only heard through the wall in a bathroom can actually sing, but she can.
I think that this was one of those places where I was gonna say Netflix, where Black Mirror entirely runs on cinematic language, right? Where it's like, she's a lady, she's pretty, and she does sing. Thus, she must be good at singing, right? Like, it's not that complex in terms of where the story wants us to go.
Yeah, no, there is, like, a strange element where, like, a lot of this being, like, extremely rushed along is highly textual.
Yeah.
Like, it's not at all subtext. It's like, no, the next show's in 24 hours. I'm going to buy you a ticket right now.
By the vibes of this episode, I think they've known each other and quote-unquote known for like 2 days.
Yeah, like, genuinely.
They've had a 1-minute encounter in the bathroom that was, I think was pretty close to killing you in terms of like social cringe.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, I'd like to spend my entire inheritance and all my earthly wealth to give you a shot at stardom, which, as far as we can tell in this universe, is the only way to get out of the grind.
Yeah. And we're never given more information than that, to be clear.
I think we have like one example, which is the lady on the panel, like the judges, who seems to have gone through this exact thing. That's all we know of the social mobility in this world.
Yeah. And, she does well. But Simon Cowell is like, well, you're good, but you're not that good.
However, you are hot.
Yeah, we have another host here, which is Wraith the porn guy. And he would like to recruit you for porn.
Yeah.
And at this point, the mechanics become a bit relevant because she has been drugged on the stage with cup pliance.
Was it called compliance?
Yeah, I checked.
Right. I thought it was just called compliance.
They're being...
they're being a bit on the nose here. But yeah, I think that, and then just... Because I don't think she's completely out of it from that. I think it's also just pure social pressure from, like, thousands/millions of people shouting at her.
There's a video conference audience that has their avatars cheering for her to get into porn. And another, just like, point of order is that the sexually lecherous porn guy host is black, and that's weird. Yeah. And that's just like, why did you have to do that? And the answer is, you didn't.
I was thinking about the this episode, and I think maybe we'll talk more about the racial issues in the future. I was thinking about that, and this is probably not a good instinct of me, but I was trying to be kind to it, because to be fair, Simon Cowell is also sexually lecherous eventually.
Yeah.
But in the, like, sort of, like, I'm your creepy uncle, where the black porn guy is, show us your titty.
Aggressively, yeah.
And obviously is the actual purveyor of sexual violence in the setting.
Now, we have to be clear for a second. There is an actor. This is not actually Simon Cowell. It's just a character who is extremely based on Simon Cowell.
Yeah, like, but yeah, it is something I thought myself, and I was trying to be like, well, at least, like, the main character is also black, and he's shown to be quite chaste, like, especially by the nature of this world. But it's hard not to look past the fact that
Yeah.
Rafe, as the guy's name is like, it's not just that he's sexually aggressive and black, it's
Yeah.
that he plays into a lot of those stereotypes and vibes, right? Because
like, there's not much depth to this. It's just kind of bad.
no, he's very much meant to be the least deep character.
Yeah.
I think around maybe apart from Dustin, but that's not worth mentioning. I think.
And Abby gets
Porned.
Yeah, she gets hired, which is the most euphemistic way to put this.
Yeah.
And then she is omnipresent on porn TV.
She seems to be like the only person on porn after from that point on.
Yeah, and it's like they're doing a lot of work to make this like as uncomfortable as you can without like having explicit sex on television.
Well, like, and specifically sexual violence, right? Because, like, it's not just that she was drugged into this and, like, drugged plus, like, essentially socially forced to do this.
Yeah.
It's also, like, the language of the porn used, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know how much I want to talk about this because it's just kind of, like, prima facie.
I will just, like, repeat the tagline that they verbatim use, like, within the ads, within the diegetic ads, which is the hottest babe in the nastiest situations, and like that is very succinctly what it is.
Yeah, like, and it is just like they very much focus on how she's like innocent and like virginal essentially in the context of this, and it's bad. Like, there's a lot to talk about here on like how. I don't know. I think I'll just get back to this one because it's just too much for right now.
And Daniel Kaluuya has a complete freak out about this because he has spent all his money on the ticket, so he has no money left to skip ads with.
Yeah.
And
he assaults the screens and he gets a little bit of a glass shard.
Yeah, he tries to break out and doesn't manage, and like there's like the implication that he is going to kill himself. And instead he, like, tries to, like, or he thinks about, like, cutting off the, like, club stamp that he got for, like, walking with Abby to the show. And then we're sort of left to wonder what actually, like, happens, because he just sort of stops and seems to think better of it.
Yeah, I think this is the eureka moment, right? That leads into the final plot here.
Yeah, and then we get just like a big grinding montage where he gets like really technical about.
That's right. He starts listening to hustle gurus. He gets a really firm handshake. He invests into crypto, and it's a happy ending for him.
Well, he just like steals. He just like manages to like nick food that's like left over in order to save as much money as possible to get on
Hot Shots,
which is pretty much the final bit of the episode. And what he does is he keeps this shard of glass, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to go on Hot Shots," and like it's
a
like
heist montage essentially.
Yeah. Well, it's not very complicated, but yeah. But he gets on Hot Shots, and it's like, all right. He's learned to dance in the montage.
It's very good too.
And he's like, all right, I'm doing a dance. Oh, I have a knife. Brackets glass. And then he's like, I need you to listen to me. I haven't prepared anything. Also, shout out to sister episode Smithereens here.
Yeah.
This is Smithereens with a very long intro in some sense.
Yeah, I think it makes somewhat different points.
Yeah.
I think this one is broader and angrier than Smithereens, and it's less self-reflective.
And basically, after like stumbling for a bit, he just like yells angrily about the state of things. And
yeah, like, I mean, this is kind of I'm not sure I want to call this a thesis statement because it is it's not particularly coherent,
No,
right? And
no,
I think
no.
it's not meant to be in Universe
No,
either, for that matter.
absolutely not.
He is angry at, like, this is a man who lives in dystopia, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he has lost something that was dear to him. Even if it's a bit strange that it wasn't quite that dear to him, but I digress. And he's angry about that, right? Like, he is directing this towards the dystopia, but fundamentally it's about his personal loss, right?
Yes. And, like, it's both, but there's just so much projection happening that this is deeply personal to him.
Yeah.
And then the judges are like, yeah, what if you got on TV for us? And he does, and that's the end of the episode. There's a this episode is like the most on the nose you can get, and he just like keeps the glass shard he like threatens himself with to like be able to get out his piece, like in a like velvet box.
Yes.
And he keeps using it during his like scheduled rants.
Yeah, and they sell it as a little like add-on to your avatars out there if you want the Bing. I think they call it like the Bing shard in the menu too and everything. But yeah, so like it's he he becomes part of the commercialization.
Yeah, he becomes deeply co-opted.
Yes, and then we have this final scene of him looking out at what actually appears to be like the real world.
And it is still like screens, and we are heavily given to wonder.
Is it? I think that's ambiguous.
Yeah, no, but like it's still like conceivably
Right.
screens, and
Conceptually.
we are left with the deep ambiguity of like, is there a world out there? Which isn't like that meaningful of a question, but it is just like. It is just another facet of, like, nothing in this setting seems to be particularly tangibly real.
I think there's some stuff to that, but I think we can get back into that once we actually go through the films. But yeah, our boy is on top of the world, and he's ambiguously unhappy about it, I would say. But he's... I don't know, I think there is something to be said for this scene actually being quite a good comparison to Abby's case, where she is essentially half drugged, half pure social pressured into complying. And Daniel Kaluuya is not drugged at all. He makes this choice a bit more of his own free will, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting to mind that.
But obviously his options are deeply constrained. But just like as a point of order, he does manage to avoid getting drugged before the show, which is probably why he manages to get off his thing.
Pretty much.
But yeah, that's the episode. Like
That's
we have no intercut credit scenes. It's extremely straightforward.
I was gonna say it's compact, but I don't think you'd agree with that.
No, I wouldn't.
I think it's compact in the sense that it talks about one, like as in a lot of these early Black Mirror episodes, it talks about one thing and talks about it a lot. Now, how much of that is meaningful and how much of it is insightful, that's a different question. But I do have to say, for whatever you might criticize this episode for, it does keep it, like, it is stay on point, I suppose.
Yeah, I think, like, to an extent, even to its detriment, in my opinion. Because, like, so, just to, like, get this out of the way, because I don't think it's that interesting or deep, but my misgivings with this episode are primarily focused on the form, in that it is just like the most unfathomably slow start. Right?
It does not speed up until quite a bit into the episode.
Yeah, we are really asked to like feel the drudgery and misery of Daniel Kaluuya's character. We are really forced to feel the same way. Just like it's so slow and so boring, and
but do you think it helps immerse you?
I don't know. I think it goes a bit too far for me personally.
Do you think if
I understand the point?
Do you think that if there was less social cringe to go along with the drudgery, that you might be more positively inclined towards the drudgery?
Absolutely.
Because I think it's really, for you, it's kind of a 1-2 punch going on here, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't mind that as much. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Does this episode have strong world building?
I think world building is an extremely interesting angle. Because I think, like, this episode, like, on the face of it, is, like, aggressively anti-world building, right? It, like, offers us as little information as it can get away with.
Well, I think that's kind of part of it, to me. Like,
yes.
And I think this is very much... And I don't just mean part of it...
It's minimalist, I guess.
I don't just mean it's minimalist in the sense of, like, the writer sitting in the room being like, how much do we actually have to tell you about the world to make it work? I think in universe this makes sense. Like, one of the core parts of this world is this sort of, like, isolation.
Yeah.
We are hinted that there might be, like, an outside world that is still fine in that final shot of, like, these verdant jungles. They might also be screens. It's ambiguous, but, like, I'm inclined to believe that they're real. But that's a vibes thing. But I think, like, the sort of isolation, both from, like, your fellow man and just from anything meaningful in this world, is very much a part of the world. One thing that struck me is that, like, there's a point where our boy Daniel Kaluuya, like, because we are given to understand at some point that, like, oh yeah, sitting on these bikes pedaling is what gives this world its power.
Yeah.
Which is nonsense, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, it does not take an electrical engineer to go, that doesn't make sense.
Someone needs to make all those screens.
Yeah, like...
There needs to be more sophisticated division of labor for this world to exist.
Yeah, and and even that, even if you had all these screens and they never broke and never needed maintenance or any sort of customization, humans pedaling would not do that, because you would need the energy, like... The system would not make sense just on the pure basis of energy.
Yeah.
And, like, in later seasons, I think I might have been like, this is Charlie Brooker being fanciful, let's just accept that. I don't think that's what we're meant to do here. Because there's a part where he, like, during his angry rant, he's like, pedaling for what? And, like,
yeah,
I do genuinely think there is some point to be made that, like, clearly this is nonsense from the ground up, and we're meant to interpret it as nonsense from the ground up.
Yeah. I think that's a good observation. And I do think, like, it is also, like, important to remark that, yes, this episode is, like, this minimalist. Like, it is... You could set this episode in large part just, like, in current day, right? Like, a lot of the things it is talking about are very current day. It's about co-opting things. It is about reality TV being bad nebulously, right? You could have just, like, a story about a journalist who, like, finds out a conspiracy and people are like, oh, he's a good ranter. Yeah. Right? Like, that is something that is not at all alien to us. But the choice to be like, no, we are just focusing on minimalism, to just, like, focus on this idea quite this aggressively. That's a choice that, like, eliminates a lot of other connections that would be, like, naturally, like, force themselves onto the episode if it were in a world that is comprehensible to us.
Yeah, I want to say too, like, I think also a big part of, like, this sort of... A big part of how the world draws its boundaries and, like, why it draws its boundaries is because I think this is a much more personal episode in a way than a lot of these others. Because I think, yes, obviously it talks a lot about, like, the sort of ability of capital to subsume critique into becoming part of its own perpetuation. But I think also, like, a lot of this, if you look at the verbiage here, this is a lot about Charlie Brooker pontificating on what is meaningful, right?
Yeah.
And I think he does, on some level, kind of come out as a little bit critical of the idea that, like, oh, having a meaningful meeting of eyes with a pretty girl, like, immediately transcends you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot to make about our protagonist, Daniel Kaluuya here, like, believing he is having this transcendent moment, and, like, then he comes up on the scene where he thinks he's having his big rebellion, and he goes, I don't know what to say, apart from I'm hurting right now, and I don't want to hurt.
Yeah, and I do want to slightly divert from you on a specific point, because like I think this is like originally said in this manner by Disco Elysium, but like the ability of capitalism to subsume all critique back into itself, or I guess it's been said in a lot of places, but like this episode is not interested in capitalism, right? It's not about, it's about a media system that is weirdly totalizing, right? It is more nebulous than capitalism. It is about the system, man.
Yeah, I was trying to think of this, like, while we were watching this, to sort of come up with a name for this, and I'm sure there is one, but just this sort of like spectacle of capitalism. Podcat is having a lot of fun in the background. This is going to be a problem moving forward.
Yeah.
But I shall do my best to push through. But I was trying to come up with a name for this, like this sort of like the spectacle that capitalism produces. In this case, like, and this episode is very clear. It hates reality TV. It hates like lowbrow humor. It hates all of it, and it believes it to be deeply hurtful, like deeply harmful, I should say. Not just to like the broad philosophical concepts of finding meaning, but also just like to minorities, to women, to a lot of groups specifically. And yeah, I think that's interesting, and I think you're right in the sense that this episode does not necessarily require capitalism. I think it looks at a byproduct of what capitalism in our current world has produced. But I think there's probably a point to make that like in a different timeline, this sort of spectacle, reality TV, etc., might still have been produced. And this episode wants to look at that spectacle without necessarily looking at capitalism itself.
It is, in fact, quite invested in removing it from the entire world that surrounds it. Which, like, that's a bizarre and fascinating choice.
Yeah. I like, the thing I was trying to think of, like, during this is, like, what do we actually see of the hierarchy in this world? And it's not much, right? Like, we have
TV hosts, we have the cyclists, and we have the cleaners. That's it.
I think there's technically one step below cleaners. I think the people, like, the fat people, and this is where the fat phobia comes in, who are just kind of, like, whipping boys, I guess, in the, like, reality TV section. Like, this episode definitely, like, and something I kept coming back to is, like, this episode has a very strong fixation on, like, appearance, right? Yeah. Like, and I don't know if it's entirely disentangleable from just its general hatred of reality TV and lowbrow humor. I think that might just be it, but it's interesting that it has such a strong focus, like, and even, might I add, and this is one part I like, our protagonist has two things he likes about the deuteragonist, his girl. She sings and she's pretty. Like, there's a point to be made that, like, they're not finding a meaningful connection.
He's deeply shallow.
Yeah.
And, like, that's fine.
I wonder if
It's just he reads a lot into it.
He reads a lot into it, and he wants to not be shallow, right? But, like, in the sense of, like,
he doesn't know how to be a person.
He doesn't know how to be a person, and he doesn't, like... It's hard to say if he doesn't want to put in the work, or if he just doesn't know what the work is.
It's
like,
not available to him, is sort of the read.
And I think that's kind of, like, a point of this, is to say that, like, if you are made, if you grow up, if you are forged by a system, that system's tools are what you have available to you, at the very least at the start. So to him, like, what does he, like, do to break out of this drudgery? He uses this shallow connection to this woman he sees once and then, like, hears sing and goes, that's what love is, baby. And love is gonna break me free. And then when that doesn't work out, he goes, the only tool I have left is spectacle.
Yeah.
And that's obviously subsumable. And that's what happens. And he breaks on that rock, right? Like, I have tried my two tools, appearances and spectacle, which are roughly the same thing, but slightly different in the context of this episode, and it doesn't work. And then he goes, I'm done. Like, I'm out.
Yeah, like, fundamentally, the episode, in a way, is about the human spirit longing for things that the human imagination cannot conceptualize if it is being spiritually impoverished.
Yeah. I think, like, this is an episode that I think would hit really well with, like, a certain subtype of anarchists who are very much, like, the idea of, like, we cannot have the revolution if we're just doing the same thing again, right?
Yeah.
And, like, this is kind of what I talk, like, this is why I find this episode so fascinating, because it is a much broader talk, because, like, we've had other episodes that are about, like, human nature, right? Like, Be Right Back is a good example of, like, human nature. Archangel is a good example of, like, human nature and stuff like that. And then we have a lot of stuff that, like, talks about, like, this specific social movement or this specific social thing, right? And this, to me, is a much, like, broader philosophical thing about, like, the nature of change, I guess, and the nature of how things don't change.
Yeah, it's... And I think, like, in that it accomplishes something, like, very abstract, I suppose. And
Yeah.
I guess I am coming around to it, like, a lot more, like I was coming around to it a bit during the episode. But just, like, this like, strange insistence on, like, deep abstraction, like, it does produce something that is, like, so specific that it's hard to be like, well, yeah, this is obviously talking about the real world in this, in, like, whatever sense. It's
Apart from American Idol.
Yeah.
It is just American Idol.
But no, it's about more than that. And I suppose I really quite like that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's interesting, and, like, there's a point of, like, I don't know how much of this is us being us and wanting to read into things a lot, but it strikes me as that, like, when we get the first hints of, like, romance between Daniel Kaluuya and Jessica Brown Finlay, I think I got that right. It's essentially just cinematographic language, right? Like, it's them having long looks at each other and kind of, like, slow, like, ooh, nice, happy piano playing. Like, it's all appearances, right?
Yeah.
Like, even in the cinema itself, it is just appearances. And I think, like, if I am being generous, I think I hope that's intentional, because I think it's very interesting to me.
It absolutely has to be, because we are given, like, another potential love interest who,
Yes!
like,
Yeah.
who is there to contrast, like, no, this woman seems to actually be interested in you, Mr. Kaluuya, and you clearly don't give a shit.
Yeah, like, I think I want to talk for a second about I guess I'm not sure I want to call her the fake out love interest, but, like, the other potential, right? Because we have this, I don't think we ever get her name.
No.
But I think there's such an interesting, like, almost YA vibe to her. Because if we get shots of this entire room of people, like, biking and watching, like, mindless lowbrow humor or porn or just kind of, like, a road they're cycling on, which is a bit weird, but, like, hey, you do you, I guess.
Yeah.
But she's the only one who is, like, she's trying to learn violin. Or might even have learned violin. Like, she's watching, like, a program to, like, learn how to do... Yeah, like, how to play a violin. And, like,
except there is no violin.
There's no violin.
There is still, like, that deep sense of impoverishment.
But simultaneously, I'm pitching this YA novel, right? Like, everyone else is biking, and then there's Jessica. She's learning the violin. She's spending every moment being like, I like books, I like music, and I like me. Yeah. Like that's interesting.
It is just cinematographic shorthand for, oh, she has a personality.
She's a real person, and she's immediately dismissed by our boy Daniel Kaluuya.
To be fair, like, she is not a good fit for him, because she probably has more going on than him.
Probably, right? Because he's not, like... He's definitely not developed, right? Like,
no.
The closest thing we get to a personality from him is apathy, right? Like, he doesn't like porn or hotshots. And that's not enough. You can't just say, I don't like... Like, saying, I don't like reality TV or, like, hip-hop music, that's not a personality, no matter what people on Twitter will tell you.
Though I do think, like, in some, it does end up feeling a bit conservative, if you like, Because Charlie Brooker, famously, not very interested in solutions.
Yeah.
Right, and we concede that. We are charitable. We're not like, but you need to show us how to build the beautiful utopian future, Mr. Brooker. Otherwise, what is your critique word? No, it's fine, right? But I think it does end up being like a bit conservative, like if you try to read this deeply, because fundamentally, what sort of makes Daniel Kaluuya stumble, and I think this is also a bit of a reading question, but like in my reading, it's that he is so impoverished that he has nothing to even like conceptualize what he might want. And you might apply a sort of communitarian reading that it is his social isolation, because like these people, like their pods are singular, they're solo, right? No one, I think, in this world has sex.
Not as far as we can tell, though.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a mention of Jessica Brown Findlay just turning 21, so we know that at least 21 years ago someone had sex.
Oh, I thought that was more of that was which level.
I guess 21.
It
seems...
doesn't. Yeah, it
I
doesn't
don't know.
matter. But yeah, right, and that's sort of the communitarian reading. His imagination is diminished by his lack of community, but like, it is also just like you can. It is being shown to us to be like in a small part like a bit of a personal failing, because he just like he doesn't do anything. So there is just like the tiny sense of like a conservative, like, well, you are the problem, because he is the problem, like within the story, right? He is the one who's trying to get there, and then he doesn't have anything to fucking say,
but simultaneously, like, I guess I don't read that fundamentally as like he fucked up. Like I think the reading of him like being the spirit, like ideologically impoverished, is how I would probably put it. Is more like the fundamental thing, right? Because that goes back to the structure of living in a society where you don't.
You're right.
You don't have any sort of interaction that might generate like, hey, let's imagine a society that is not based on this sort of like exploitation.
Yeah, it's, I suppose, like, neither the conservative or sort of the communitarian critique really hit home, because, like, he doesn't have the tools to better himself, and he doesn't have the, like, access to community to...
And just, like, because I'm thinking, like, once he's up there, and, like, he makes his speech, right, and, like, I don't think there is a speech that will make them go, good point. Let's establish a communistic utopia or whatever. Like I don't think that's where that's going. And once you're up there and they go like, God, you're such a good performer for this hella anti-structure speech. Like, what do you do? Like, because like you can go, I guess I'm going back to the bike. Okay, that doesn't perform it. That doesn't do anything. You can do what he did.
Unionize the cyclists.
I guess, but like
maybe it's bizarre.
I think it's controlled, but like, because the only thing you can do is like, lunge at one of them and try to kill them, but like, this is clearly a system where they're used to switching out the judges. That's not a big deal.
I think that is ultimately like what this episode is sort of, the feeling this episode is trying to engender, just like, where do we even go, right?
Like, what's the weak point of this exploitative system?
Like, the system doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
It is clearly very bad, but like, it's not even clear who benefits.
Right, and that's kind of what I was going back to, like, back when I talked about, like, the hierarchy. Like,
yeah.
Are the judges happy? I don't know, like, they probably live quite comfortably, but like, are they in control? Like, they might as well just be performers like anyone else here, just like a slightly higher class. I think, like, what is it David Gruber?
Graeber, yeah.
Graeber, like, and the, like, bullshit jobs would have a lot to say about this, right? Because, like, I think that's what most of this is, right? Like, it's a hamster wheel.
Yeah, and I think, like, I don't think there is, like, a conspiratorial notion to it, but rather it is just, like, it is trying to depict in clarity, like, the sheer incomprehension of, like, what is any of this for. And it's more distilled, but, like, That's a very, like, interesting feeling, right? Because there's not, like, an anti-elitist slant to it. It's just, like, it's a thing that is not accessible to, like, any of the actors, that is clearly just, like, run entirely off course, and they're like, oh yeah, you should talk about that on TV.
And the reason, this actually comes back to why I think in the final scene, the, like, verdant jungles, I think those are real. Specifically because I think it makes the point of, like, this is the system we've built. There's a world out there. Why aren't we, like, why are we stuck in this box? There are other things. Why do we keep running the same hamster wheel?
Yeah, I do like the optimism of that.
Well, I think it's not even just optimism so much as it's like, because like it'd be one thing like if he goes up there and he looks out and it's like, oh, it's a nuclear hellscape, and
Yeah.
like that's kind of like, okay, like sure, like bad systems form under adversity.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, but the idea that like there are better systems out there, there are better worlds out there, but we're still stuck in here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think that hits kind of hard to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, like, it's more meaningful to have this episode end with him looking out at this, like, the world is fine. We fucked up. We made something horrible. And maybe if you were to go back step by step, you can get how we got here and be like, well, every individual step was at least mostly logical.
Or at least comprehensible.
But there is still a pristine world out there.
And, yeah, I guess that's kind of better than us in a way.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the sort of more metaphorical undercurrent of, like, it's, like, this isn't everything. Like, that's something, right? And, like, there are, like, these brief snippets where, like, stars talk about, like people who have, quote-unquote, made it to the top, in whatever meaningless way is available in this world, are like, yeah, no, I like watching the world. I like seeing the trees. And it's like, huh, yeah, no, that's just, like, there.
Yeah, if you're the elite, why don't you go out and seize that? Like, why don't you make something of that?
And we don't know, right? We don't know. I guess we know, right, in a sense, because people don't know to leave.
And this is what strikes me, because, like, I think this is kind of where it does kind of wrap around to, like, capitalism, right? Because, like, I don't think the capitalist elite is particularly happy.
No.
I think they're comfortable. I think they have a lot of their hedonistic needs taken care of.
There's a beautiful line again in one of those, like, TV snippets where one of them is like, yeah, no, I really like having made it. I get to see the outside, and I really like gold. I feel like that really expresses who I am.
And like I think this is kind of where it strikes me, just like, because like at some point you can be like, yeah, that number of how much money you own goes up and up. Does that matter? No, but that's the logic that our society operates on.
Yeah.
In the same way that, like, oh yeah, having more gold things on my clothing, that's a number that can go up too.
Yeah.
Does that change it? No, not really. And like, I don't even think this is like a deep, like, oh, I'm being a new age hippie guru Buddhist type. Like, it's just like based, like, it. If you're gonna do hedonism, the original hedonists were like, we eat cheese and do a bunch of gardening. Like, it wasn't drugs and sex and orgies all the time, right? Like, there's a point to be made that, like, at some point you lose control, you lose track and control over even, like, what is a good life? Like, what actually, even if you're being 100% selfish, what actually benefits me? Is it seeing the stock price tick up? No, not really.
Yeah.
But that's still the only thing you can think of chasing.
And I think, like, what makes this episode very interesting is its deep commitment to the notion that there is no one in charge.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like,
there is no king, there's no, like, dictator, there's not, the closest thing we even get to, like, an oligarchy are the judges, who seem to be just as, like, poisoned by the system as everyone else.
They're like, yeah, no, I feel that, you know? I'm a cog of the machine and I will incorporate, but, like, yeah, man.
I'll incorporate that into my belief system.
And I don't know if this is anything, but I do feel like there is something to the notion that, like, if you make it all the way to the top, sure, you get to see the outside, but you're also the furthest possible away from it.
Yeah. That's a good point as well. I don't know, like, it's so interesting to me how this episode is simultaneously so extremely on the nose with stuff like, this is just American Idol, and, like, you know, the dystopia of, like, you go up to your mirror, you make a little squirtive gesture with your finger, and you get toothpaste in exchange for money. Like, it's... I think I pondered this even before we started watching, that I think this is the most sci-fi, quote-unquote, episode in here, in all of Black Mirror, specifically in the sense that it's so alien from anything.
Mm.
But simultaneously, I do think its points hit home.
Yeah, and I guess, like, it does something that I feel like Black Mirror usually doesn't try, which is make actually alien sci-fi.
Yes, exactly, right? Like, because we have... Like, what else would we even say is, like, the metalhead?
No.
I'm trying to think of anything else that even comes close to this level of,
there's nothing that attempts to be, like, so different.
Yeah, and I have to commend it for that, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, this is a feeling I have not felt in the rest of Black Mirror, right? Like, it just feels fundamentally different on that level.
Yeah. And if it were a bit better paced, it would be extremely strong.
So I think the pacing is an issue. I think now that we're about 46 minutes in.
Right, the racism.
So the racism is one thing. I was going to go with, like, the portrayal of women as well, while we're on that topic. Yeah. I think there's an interesting... Let's start with the easy ones. I don't think there's any outright, like, queer phobia. Like, queer people just do not seem to exist here, apart from, like, a throwaway comment by, like, the lady judge being like, women are hot. It's like, okay, well, that's it.
Well, it was made in, like, 2011.
Yes, so I get it. And, like,
Yep.
Like, it just is what it is, right? Like, I don't know what else to say.
2011, baby.
It's not substantial enough for me to talk about, quote-unquote, the queer representation of 15 million Americans.
Yeah.
Moving on. Fat people. I mean, the world is very fat phobic. Like, that seems to be maybe its main obsession, and, like, probably to do with, like, the fact that biking is what people do for a living.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, like, it never suggests this is cool. Like,
no.
It
depicts it as very vile.
And gross and, like, self-sustaining, right? Because one of the ways they humiliate fat people is by making them eat.
Yeah.
Like, it's rough to watch, but simultaneously I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, like, it makes sense to me in the spectacle of, like, appearance and, like, spectacle and stuff like that. Like, it checks out to me, and, like, I don't think there's any point where I go, like, I am uncomfortable by Charlie Brooker's view on fat people.
Yeah.
Then we can go on to the racist stuff. Okay, so we have, our main character is black. He's British and black, and not a woman. So that's a new for Black Mirror.
Right. Well, Men Against Fire.
Was he British? So I don't remember, because I don't remember Men Against Fire.
I don't think they had ethnicity. Nationalities.
Well, I mean, did he sound British?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Okay.
He didn't have that much dialogue.
It was also Men Against Fire, so...
Yeah, sorry.
But yes, we have our black male protagonist. Him himself, I have no problem with, right? Like, I don't think there's... I don't know, you seem a little bit doubtful about that.
No, like, it is not that big an element. Like, they have the line that is clearly meant to be funny off-putting in a funny way, where they're like, all right, he gets to go fairly soon-ish in the order of American Idol, because they're like, oh, we need an ethnic one.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. That just seems like it seems like a bit more of a, like, personal beef Charlie Brooker has with the TV system.
I can see that, but it also, like, I don't know, it kind of checks out to me on some level that, like, like, it's spectacle. They'll use whatever racial stereotypes.
It's a society built on derision.
Yeah. And then we come to the issue, right?
Yeah.
So we have 3 panel judges. We have Simon Cowell. We have a white British lady, and then we have a black man who, like, I worry about describing him because I think I'll come off badly, but I want to say he's like kind of like a rapper stereotype. Like, I don't think he's actually a rapper, but that's kind of like cinematic language being used here. And he immediately like sees a woman dressed very like conservatively, quite frankly,
because they have no other forms of dress,
and immediately goes like,
levels.
"Show me your tits," and just goes on like that for like a minute.
Yeah,
it's rough. Like I don't think he's British either. Like, he sounds American to me.
I'm really bad at remembering accents.
I'm also really bad, but I think he's like the only one who's like distinctly American sounding. Now, yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I wanna like make it.
I do not endorse that part.
It's bad, like, right?
It's
like,
unpleasant.
He's not the only sexually aggressive man in this episode. Like, we have Simon Cowell being like creepy in the like, "Pardon me, madam, your breasts are amazing. May I see your nipples?" kind of vibe that you would expect from like, I don't know, a Redditor in 2013 or 2025 for that matter. But and then there's also like another of the low class workers who just like, he's there to be shit.
Yeah,
like there's not much to that, right?
Yeah, he's like Davis or something.
Dustin. Come on, then you don't remember Dustin, our boy? He's not our boy, he's bad.
He's so bad.
Well, he's just meant to be horrific.
Yeah,
he's meant to be Charlie Brooker thinking about low-class British people, right?
Yeah.
It's also a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's a bit much. But
like, the specific purpose he has is for Charlie Brooker to go, "By the way, I obviously think that all these TV shows I'm envisioning are repugnant because this repugnant guy, he fucking loves them."
Yeah, like he's in a more charitable reading, I guess he's there to show someone who is fully bought into the system.
Yeah.
On from the lower class. But yeah, like our black panel judge, I don't know what to say about it. Like, it's bad, right?
Yeah, and I understand that they're doing a weird mashup of, like, extremely present day, like, idiosyncrasies and just, like, isolating them for this dystopia that doesn't have any other obvious structure. But, like, you could have picked not that one.
Yeah, you could have picked not, like, just a straight-up racist stereotype. Because, like, the additional detail that I think you kind of get blinded by in the moment because of how upfront this is also that just, like, he is a pimp, right? Like, that is just what he is.
Yes.
And, yeah, that just adds, like, another layer of just uncomfortableness to the whole thing. Like, he's a sexually aggressive black hip-hop man who's also a pimp. Like, it's... Yeah, like, I don't know. I wish I had more to say to deconstruct here. It's just bad.
Yeah, I guess they exist, but, like, what are you doing?
Like, how is this one half of the black representation in this entire episode? You know, like... I don't know, man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, there is much to it. It's just uncomfortable and bad.
Yeah.
And, like, it's meant to make us dislike him more somehow, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know. There's probably something, like, if you were being extremely generous, you could probably say something about, like, oh, spectacle often requires playing into racial stereotypes, and maybe that's how we got there. But also, like...
race isn't, like, otherwise present in this world.
Apart from saying we need an ethnic.
Which is also, like, deeply bizarre. That's not something that has otherwise been brought up in the episode. So yeah, no, it has those moments of deep discomfort.
Yeah.
And like...
Yeah.
Like
I think the thing to me is just that, like, this one is... Like, the thing about, like, we need an ethnic. Okay, in-universe racism. The idea of this guy existing, like, the way he does, is just, like, it's just racist. Like, I don't know what else to say on that front.
Yeah. But that's also just to add, like, weird, like, black guy, white women dynamic here.
Yes, yeah.
because I don't think, and this is drawing on flimsy memory a bit here, but like I don't think any of the women he casts are anything other than white.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so just like, why all of that? Other than that, fairly interesting, introspective notion about like, wouldn't it be crazy if we just did dumb shit and there was just a forest out there to like prance about in?
Yeah. Okay, so final point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about women.
Oh yeah, no, it's rough.
So like, let's go through the women that exist in this universe, right?
There is, chronologically, there's the first love interest, who's like, I don't know, like maybe like Pakistani, like brown, not like sort
I
of.
didn't think about that too much because I sorry, I don't see color. I read her as just like Southeast Asian, maybe.
Yeah, no, she is like one of the many people that you would cast as a British casting director with the British population.
Yeah. Then we have our main girl, who really just does not have a personality outside of singing and being pretty.
Yep.
Then we have
porn. To be fair, she is there for 2 days.
Yeah, like I guess there's some
like
slack.
It's not her fault. It is she is, and like this is the fault of the script to some extent, of course, but like she is just mainly there, not in her own right, but for Daniel Kaluuya to go, "Oh, lady."
She is a plot device.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Hello, podcast.
Yeah, you're a plot device too.
I don't.
You're
gonna have to explain that one, but
it doesn't make sense. It's a cat.
But yeah, so we have like just the porn girls, and then we finally have the female judge, who is also like and I have not really watched American Idol or similar shows. My understanding is that this might be like a real sort of like role that I would expect a woman to fill here, just based on like TV language, is that she's the slightly more sympathetic judge. Because you have the male judges who are a bit more harsh, and then she goes, "I'm sorry, darling, you suck."
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like I actually read her as like completely coherent within the system, that like she is, because she is also there to just be like, "Hey, everyone here is sexist, and I'm signing off on that. It's fine."
Yeah.
And that's all the women I think we see in this episode. So there's a thing, right, where in a lot of media, certain types of writers will go, "Hey, we have a female character. She needs to undergo something traumatic, usually to further a male character's plot, like advancement. Sexual violence. Okay, done. Writing is done for today. Let's go home, boys." And that's kind of here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's... Because I want to say there's a lot worse examples than this, because making the point that popular media, based on its origins in the society we live in, etc., can very frequently feature the exploitation of women, and the exploitation of women can frequently be sexual. That being said, I'm not a huge fan that, with the exception, I suppose, of the first fake love interest, all the women here are exclusively, even on like a higher plot level, meant to either be here for like sex appeal, or to be exposed to sexual violence, or to sign off on that sexual violence. Even that original fake out love interest is just there to be like, "Hey, pretty girl. Sometimes people like pretty girls. This one doesn't."
Not pretty enough for Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, and it.
Yeah, no, it is one of those like, there is a strange thing going on here where there's like a lot of misogyny being depicted very consciously. And like I think it lands in a fairly mixed place, because there is, I think, point being made about the intertwining of like this and reality TV. I don't know if it justifies quite the depth and extent of it, right? Because it is also just like, yes, a plot device.
I think fundamentally a thing that you need to do if you're gonna talk about, like, if you're gonna make a work where the exploitation and even the sexual exploitation of women is a fundamental part of it, like we need to talk about objectification specifically. And here's the problem with you can make a work about objectification, but the women who are objectified should still be people, because that's what women are, right? Like, if you're a sex worker, if you're like a model, whatever, the fact that other people and society at large objectifies you does not take away the fact that you are still a person.
Yeah.
And that's not a thing this episode acknowledges. The women are objects here. Like, they are objects of plot advancement, they are objects of sexualization and sexual violence, and there's not a lot of agency to go around in this episode in general, but I think it's much more pointed when it comes to the women in this episode.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I find frustrating, I suppose. Because I absolutely think you should be able to talk about the widespread sexual exploitation of women in the world, but they are still people. Your characters still need to be people. They do not... Because... yeah, I don't know. Like, this is the sort of thing that frustrates me. And I'm going to throw out, like, a bit of a long hook here. But, like, it reminds me... And I'm the wrong person to talk about this. But it reminds me a bit of Game of Thrones. Right? Where it's, like... There's this off-justification when it comes to this sort of, like, complete objectification and sexualization of women in media. Where people go, like, well, that's just what it was like. That's what it's like in the Middle Ages, quote-unquote, in Game of Thrones. Not true, by the way. The reality is a lot more complex than that. Or in this case, well, that's just what women are like in reality TV. And the point is, yeah, maybe if we just saw the reality TV, but we have the opportunity to see women being people, and we don't get that.
I think it's an interesting parallel if you take a step further back, because, like, it is also quite specifically in Game of Thrones, it's an HBO thing, right? If you make an HBO show, you are going to exploitatively feature nudity, primarily women, in order to just, like, throw your audience a little bit of that HBO special magic, right? That is part of what they're selling. In this one, we're kind of approaching it from the opposite side, in that this is like pushing the boundaries of what can be presumably put on regular television. So in that specific sense, there is like a lot more intentionality in this one, because it's just like, no, we're really working to make this as like off-putting and foul as possible without breaching regular TV guidelines. I think that is somewhat orthogonal to your point.
A little bit, but I see what you mean. Like,
there is purpose here. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't get there. To like, because like it is, to like pick up on the long running thread, it is about vulgarity, and it is, we have a lot of Black Mirror that is interested in vulgarity. But like, if you draw, for instance, Lock Henry as a comparison, Lock Henry does not show the gore on screen.
Yeah.
And this one shows the porn on screen, and it really, really works hard to manage to get there without having quite pornography.
Yeah, it's a lot. And to be honest, like, I want to respect Black Mirror's like interest in like the vulgarity of mass media, of reality TV, etc. I just do not know if it fits this particular topic. like, it strikes me as, like, when we talk about, like, sexual violence and rape in like popular culture, like in media, one of the fundamental interesting things to look at when it comes to stuff that is generally well regarded as, like, insightful or talking about it versus exploitative is that, like, the latter tends to show the sexual assault, the former tends not to, because the actual looking at it is not important. The actual seeing, like, the quote, like, the rape scene is not important. And this episode veers a bit too far for me into that direction.
Yeah.
Like, and I, listen, I do not know if they sat down and went, let's make Abby's, like, sexual assault scenes, which is essentially what they are, alluring or enticing within, like, what we can do. I don't know if that's how it comes off. I have no idea. I just think that, like, there's a bit too much.
It's gratuitous.
Yeah, like, it's gratuitous, and I don't know if that word covers it, because it's a bit too much of, look at this woman being violated, and a bit too little of, well, women still exist. Women still are people. Women have some degree of agency, even in a system that oppresses them.
And that comes back around to the purpose of it is to spur a man to action.
Exactly.
And, like,
this is a variant of fridging, right? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I have problems with that, as I tend to do more and more as Black Mirror goes earlier and earlier, I feel like.
Yes.
And
this was, like, before intimacy coordinators, too.
Yeah.
Extra points for being unpleasant on that front.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't fundamentally think it is wrong to talk about sexual violence. I don't think it's wrong to talk about sexual exploitation. I don't think it's wrong to, in universe, show that, like, women are oppressed and women are exploited in this way. But, like,
its interest in the topic, I don't think, is proportional to the screen time it's given.
Yeah, and I think that's inherently kind of a recipe for failed portrayal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'm gonna leave it at that for now.
Yeah, so gosh, it genuinely is, like, just, like, uncomfortable. Like, it makes you want to look away for, like, sections of something that isn't really adding to the point.
Yeah.
And, like, it has a real point, and this is not it, right? And I think that this is a little bit of that Black Mirror sickness of, like, oh yes, we're talking about some, like, at least this episode has a fairly interesting point, but they're still, like, just like, oh yeah, and let's just toss in other stuff. Right? Because, like, ultimately it's not, the reality TV is just a prop.
Sure, yeah.
It's not the object of interest itself. It's something Charlie Brooker is interested in.
I think it's a bit of a red herring to start with.
Yeah. And therefore, like, we're going to, like, do a little bit of something by putting porn right next to reality TV. And, like, if you were actually interested in that, you could do that better, but you're not. And
that's fine, but you know, like, think about where you're spending your screen time, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I guess the appropriate amount would have probably been closer to, like, the fatphobic bits that are, like, they're there, but they're not that prominent.
I actually think they're too prominent.
They're probably also a bit too prominent.
Yeah, and that's not, like, an offensiveness thing for me. That's just a, like, I get the point. Like, you can stop now, you know?
Yeah. And in all of this, we rack up more episode durings than we really necessarily wanted.
It's interesting, right? Because that hasn't been an issue for at least a couple of episodes now. I feel like. And yet. Okay. I want to ask you a quick question. Do you still stand by the no, don't watch this?
I I stand by the trigger warnings.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think, God, like it is a more rewarding watch than a lot of Black Mirror if you like sit down to like really poke at it. But if you do not take the time, it takes some unearthing. And like that's fine, but you know, it is only rewarding if you do that.
It's only rewarding if you listen to this podcast where we are very smart and cool.
Yeah, but like, God, I was struggling hard for like that first half hour.
You looked at the time 17 minutes in or something.
Nothing had happened.
It was so fast. Like, even with like Beyond the Sea, I think it took like 30 minutes before you were like, good lord.
Yeah, no, like it really comboed me with social discomfort and atrocious slowness.
Well, good news for you then. I'm saying this before I actually read how long the next episode is. Next week, we'll be back with the entire history of You, which is 44 minutes. That is shorter than this episode.
And a very reasonable episode. And then we'll have season 1 in the bag.
I'm scared of season 7, but I suppose that's at least 3 weeks away or whatever.
It's basically going to be like Whiplash time travel.
Yeah, good lord. But I'm excited for the recap episode of this.
Yes.
But yes, with that, thank you for listening, dear listeners who are not viewers. I will see you again next week.
You may also watch if you like. We're true. Just not gonna be there.
Yeah.
You can just watch the logo, you know?
That is true. We have a good logo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did a minor amount of work.
Nice.
And yeah, see you on the other side.
See ya.